Bloomquist Kindness and Athletic Training.
Whoa. Hello, Spectre. All right. Kindness. It's quite a simple word with a simple meaning. Being friendly, generous, and considerate. But just look at the world today for an example. Even though it might sound easy to do, there's news stories and paper articles and website headliners. They just give you false and discouraging news, and news that you don't want to hear. Like, when's the last time that we heard a story about peace among a group of people instead of vicious wars breaking out? It's easy to see that with all this negative and discouraging news, that kindness is almost becoming lost among people. Such a simple virtue, but we can't seem to put our own feelings and emotions away to be kind to someone and instead feel that we must put someone down. Society tells us that it's okay to be the mean girl or the bad boy because that's what'll make people like you more. But why is that? We feel that instead of helping someone out and helping people with their needs, that we must put someone down in order to put ourselves up. So for my first semester project for the capstone experience, I wanted to combat all these feelings with doing random acts of kindness. My sister once told me that you never know when someone's having a bad day and could just simply use a compliment to cheer them up or to make them smile. You should always be looking to put a smile on someone's face, whether they're having the best day of their life or the worst one. You can never go wrong with it, especially if you're just simply seeking to make them happier. And that's the true definition of a random act of kindness. A selfless act performed by kind people to either help or cheer up a random stranger for no reason other than to make people happier. Although I believe that you can do random acts of kindness for anyone and not just random strangers, I do believe that it is solely for the purpose of making someone happier and doing it out of a selfless love for others. Some easy examples of acts of kindness could be holding the door open for the old guy with a cane struggling to get in, or paying for the person behind you in the Starbucks drive-thru line. For in the wise words of Aesop, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. So I set out to do random acts of kindness wherever I could and for whoever I could, whether it be my friends or my family or random strangers. But of course, I ran into a lot of speed bumps along the way. Things fell through and I got really discouraged through a lot of it. But that doesn't mean you still can't be kind. Proverbs 12:25 says, "An anxious heart weighs down a man, but a kind word cheers him up." So even though if things aren't looking up for you, or if you're going through a hard time, that doesn't mean you can't be kind through all of that. And be kind to people who have done so much for you and who are just looking out for you. For example, your teachers. I know they may seem kind of mean and scary at first, and they give you a lot of homework and you don't like that. But being at Front Range for 13 years now, I can tell you that these teachers, they just want the best for you, and they want to see you succeed and see you do your best in life. Even though they ask you at the beginning of senior year, what do you want? They do just want the best for you. And when I was asked, what do you want, I truly did not know what I wanted, like much of us seniors didn't know. And I was really scared of the question, and it kind of frustrated me, and I was like, stop asking me this. And I really didn't know what I wanted until football season came around, which sounds weird enough, but I was asked to be football manager this year, and I was forced to be around sweaty, stinky boys every day after school. And a little backstory, my freshman year, I was playing soccer, and I sprained my ankle pretty bad, and so I had to get it wrapped every day before practice. So I watched that be wrapped and taped every day. And then junior year, it happened again, so back to being taped every day. And so I eventually learned how to tape it myself and tape other people's ankles too. Pretty nifty. So during football season, I became the official ankle wrapper, and so I helped people tape their ankles and stuff. What a title, I know, so fun. Some people may think it's really gross and lame, like having someone's foot in your face, having to go like around and around with tape, making sure it's tight enough to support it, but not too tight that it cuts off their circulation, because then they just get really grumpy at you. Sounds pretty stressful, right? And who in their right mind would want to do that? Answer, I would. For some reason, this fascination of wrapping an ankle or wrapping a wrist or just trying to help any injury that I could, it really interested me, even though I had no idea what I was doing. So during football season, I helped people with their injuries. Well, helped. I don't know if I actually helped, but and so with the second semester capstone of like a professional experience, like right around the corner, I thought, what better to do than athletic training? So I thought that I would try that, and I got an opportunity of a lifetime a couple weeks ago to go shadow the CCU athletic trainer, Colorado Christian University, if you don't know what that is, athletic trainer with the help of Coach O. And I never thought I'd be able to do something like that, and it was incredibly impactful. It made me even more passionate about athletic training and helped me see that maybe that is something I want in life. So when teachers are pressuring you to find out what you want to do with your life after high school, yes, it is very frustrating and can make you feel like you're going nowhere with your life, but I challenge you to lean into that and to keep pursuing that question. Because trust me, it can be really frustrating, but that's when you have to keep persevering. And I can probably tell you that the number of times that I wish I could just give up high school and just move on and go to college, I probably need more hands to count on. But that's when perseverance comes in. And if you spend every day of your senior year just in negativity and only looking to the future, that's when you will regret it later on down the road, because you're only a senior once. You only get to live with these classmates one time. So during my first semester, things were not going my way. A lot of things failed on me. Plans were canceled. It was just not a good time. It made me really unmotivated to keep going that semester and keep trying to do that project. So Haley Sarian and I, we wanted to team up with the 6th grade class at the elementary and write letters for patients at the Children's Hospital. So we contacted Children's Hospital, and we emailed them, called them, never heard anything back. And so that was really discouraging, because that was like the biggest part of our project. And so we didn't really have anywhere to go with that. And that can like really unmotivate you to keep going, and especially for second semester, it can make you unmotivated to do more, like for the capstone, I guess. But through all of that, you can learn a lot about yourself. I learned that I'm incredibly impatient and want things done right away so I can just move on to the next thing. But that's not how the world works. You have to learn to be okay with going with the flow and understand that things aren't going to work out. But that's when you have to be hopeful and trusting, especially when things start going south. So this semester, I knew that I had to have more perseverance to accomplish more than I did last semester. There were some hiccups along the way this semester, including the athletic trainer canceling on me a couple of times. I tried to leave school like twice, I think, and neither of those worked. So the third time finally worked out. But one thing she told me, her name is Heidi, she told me, number one thing you can learn as an athletic trainer, you have to be flexible. And although she was solely talking about athletic training, I believe you can apply that to anywhere in your life. So when you feel like giving up, trust me, all of us seniors have felt that way too. But it's how you overcome that and how you push through to the other side that makes you a better person and stronger and more motivated to keep going. And through all that perseverance comes faith and trust. I was dreading the end of my senior year at the beginning of this year, because that meant I had to make a college decision, where I was going to go, what I was going to do, etc., etc. I was certain that I was going to be scrambling up until the last moment, trying to figure out what I was doing with my life. And when people asked me, I simply was just like, nope, not talking about that. So I guess you could say I was really scared of my future. But what I failed to realize at that moment was that this is not under my control whatsoever. If it were under my own control, my life would be crumbling to pieces right now. And see, at the beginning of the year, I was trying to figure it all out on my own. And I was trying to figure out everything, like my plans and everything, and I didn't lean into God enough. What a fool. That in itself stressed me out and made me doubt my future and my plans and my life even more than it should have. When it was all so easily laid out in Matthew 6:34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So we can worry and worry as much as we want, but in the end, none of that is going to do any good for us because it is all in God's control, and He has the plans for our own lives. At the beginning of the year, I was just too caught up in worry to really realize that and completely disregarded the fact that God's under control of everything. I wish I had realized that earlier, but some lessons you have to learn the hard way. But I am incredibly thankful God showed me athletic training because I didn't know where I wanted to go. And I got to research it more and discover how much I do love the athletics and being around people and helping people out as much as I can. So even though this was the most stressful semester of my life probably, I can't help but think that all of the pressure from the teachers and parents and schoolwork really helped to lead me to realize that I do need God through this all. And through all the stress and schoolwork that comes with being a student, you have to remember that we are just teenagers. Don't get me wrong, school is incredibly important, like try your hardest, everything. But at the end of the day, we are all so young and have so much life ahead of us. So just live. Don't take life too seriously. This is a lesson Miss D taught me this year during basketball season. She told me that this is something she saw in me, and I thought, like how? Like I just wondered, how do I not take life so seriously? And I think that during my first semester when I wasn't putting my trust in God, that's when I was taking life too seriously. I was living and worrying too much in the moment. But once I realized not to take life too seriously, that's when you become so less stressed and become more aware of what you can do with your future and where you're going with your life. So yeah, just live and have fun. But with all the pressures of senior year, I had to remind myself of this a lot because we can get so caught up in the moment of finishing this for AP Bio, finishing this for AP Lit, all this stuff. But you should focus on school and try your hardest to get the best grades that you can. But we do need to have fun too. So don't let the pressure of all of this take away from being a teenager and living. These are the last moments we have in high school, so make it worth it. So go on. Tell that girl you've been crushing on since 8th grade. Try an instrument, or try out for the basketball or soccer team. Be a dancer in one scene of the musical. Make friends laugh, and when they're having a bad week, bring them some coffee. Be kind and be open from learning from your teachers because they've gone through so much more life than you have. Be okay with the uncomfortable conversations about your walk with Christ, for that's how I had to get to my place of realizing I do need God more. Share your struggles with someone because that could be the best way of helping others and helping yourself. Ultimately, don't forget to live and be yourself because I know, like a couple years ago, I really cared about what people thought of me. I cared if they thought my hair was too poofy or I was too tall or whatever, I was too weird. But now that I realize that you shouldn't take life too seriously, that's when I'm like, yeah, I'll wear my hair poofy, or I'll be weird because that's just who I am. And the only opinion that really matters is God, not others. 2 Corinthians 12:10 says, "For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weakness, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong." So don't forget to be kind and grateful to one another. Because like my sister said, you never know when someone can just use a compliment to make them happier in their day. Kindness can break down barriers between people. But this kindness, it must come from your heart. It can't come from what's expected of you or what people think is right, because that's when it becomes a selfish act and not a selfless act. When I was shadowing the athletic trainer, I was trying to think of how kindness and athletic training related, because they seemed completely disconnected to me. But I asked her, I brought this up to her, and she was like, oh, that is so easy. Like, I see kindness in my everyday life. And I was like, oh, okay. She told me that these kids, they're just trying to go through college, like the ones that come to her, they're obviously injured in some way. And so when sports is basically your life in college, and you're injured on the sidelines having to watch your teammates succeed and have fun without you, that just simply sucks. Like, you can't do anything about it. So Heidi is the one that's there for these kids early in the mornings, late at nights, just encouraging them, giving them that positivity back into their lives when they're struggling to see it. And so that in itself is kindness and athletic training completely connected. And I would have never been able to find that if I hadn't gone and shadowed Heidi. So at the end of the day, it's not about who's the most successful or the most important. All that matters is that you're doing something meaningful for yourself, and that's making you happy and other people happy. But don't forget that in order to get there, you must place your full trust in God. Because without him, I wouldn't be standing here today telling you about athletic training and all this fun stuff. So find refuge in the Lord, knowing that he is all-knowing and he knows the future. And find peace that if you don't know your future, he does. It's cool. So finally, juniors and sophomores, freshmen, junior hires, everybody. The Lord delights in those who fear him, who put their hope in his unfailing love. That's from Psalm 147:11. So be cautious of the enemy trying to attack your motivation. Persevere and live the life you're called to. Don't take life too seriously, especially in high school. Be kind to those who persecute you, but be kind to those who love you also. The creator of the universe, he has complete control over your life, and that is something we should be happy about. Be thankful and be excited, because life is too short to worry about every minute detail. Thank you.
Do we have any questions? And if you wouldn't mind repeating the questions afterwards, that'd be great.
Okay. Sierra.
So do you think you're going to study athletic training in college?
So do I think I'm going to study athletic training college? Well, the thing is, they don't have like a bachelor's in athletic training anymore. It's just like exercise science and whatever. So I'll try to lead up to athletic training, but I'll have to go to more school after college to be an actual athletic trainer. So
Can we give Sophie another round?
I'm so